What's up? Thanks for joining the live or checking out this recording later. Two quick strategies on flipping businesses. Every once in a while, when we're selling business through Good Merger, we have somebody who reaches out and they're basically like, "Hey, I'd love to buy this, but it's going to be really a quick flip." There are some folks that come in and they want to flip the business before they actually buy it. So that's one of the strategies. The other is they're going to fix the business up and sell it. So let's talk about the first strategy. When it comes to trying to get a business under contract and essentially wholesale it is what they call it in real estate. But there's also kind of using options and that kind of thing. You want to make sure that everybody's on board because it becomes really difficult to try to sell the business to somebody else, and they close, and somebody else is coming in and buying it. It becomes it just complicates the deal. And most of the time, if a seller wants to sell a business, they don't care who the end buyer is, as long as they get the deal and the terms that they want. And so what I've seen is some people try to flip these businesses and they don't, they just try to keep it a secret up until the last minute, and it just causes issues. So you end up missing out on money. And what I have definitely seen happen is somebody's trying to flip the deal, and they end up introducing the end buyer, but they haven't been clear. And then those two people end up saying, "Hey, we can do this deal. We don't need to include this other person. It's just an additional complication." So you want to take care of the complication up front. If you try to take care of it in the back end, you're probably going to miss out on your money. So what do those deals look like? Well, the really cool thing is, in a lot of cases, you can end up with a tremendous amount of income. So, obviously with Good Merger, we're going in and we're listing the business. And typically we're taking a 10% fee for that listing. If we find a buyer, we're going to take 10%. So that is really a standard in the industry. So if you're flipping a business, you could essentially get that same 10%, but you've got to structure it, since you're not brokering the deal, as essentially you've got an agreed upon price on the business, and then everything above that will be yours. Now, the really cool thing with flipping is you can charge even more than the 10%, as long as the person is on board. But what I've seen is that a lot of times people will get a little unhappy if they find out you're selling it for 50% more than what you're getting it for. So that can become an issue. But the really cool thing is the 10%. Even when we're doing a broker deal, 10% is a really great fee. If we're doing a $2 million deal, I'd say when we're looking at businesses, or even in our listings, like 2 million is probably the average. So you've got some that are going to be 5, you've got more that are going to be in the $500,000 range. But on a $2 million deal, you're talking about $200,000. So to be able to do that on a single deal, you don't need a ton of these deals to be able to really make a really great living. So being able to flip those on the front end, the most important part is getting the owner on board, saying, "Okay, tell me what you want," and you get to work finding that buyer. Now, the interesting thing is we've actually had people bring us deals that we're going to list, and they are basically trying to flip a business. So they've already got a contract on a business, and we help them. We've got a list of 10,000 business buyers. So we help them find that end buyer to get that deal done. Let's talk on the back end. Now, where you can really make the big money is flipping on the back end. So I had Angela on. She was talking about one of the deals that they're doing in Pevy5, where we're flipping a business. I think originally that business was bought for around $750,000, and really the goal on that deal is exit at a $500,000 profit. So we want to exit at like 1.25, or if our cost, which I can't remember the exact numbers on that deal, but we're looking at on our investment, really making about 5 times. So with that down payment, and what you're investing in the deal. And if you're going to flip, that quick turnaround could end up being a really high return. So, I talk about, Peffy One when we did the 300% return in that business. One of the reasons was using leverage on the front end to get into the deal and then exiting the deal quickly in a short time period. So if you're in a business, let's say it's a $1 million business, and you structure the deal, ideally you're even raising the capital, but let's say you do put 20% down, just to give you hard numbers. If you put that 200,000 down and you can sell that business for 50% more, that's going to be a $500,000 return within a year. So you're talking over 200%. Now, obviously, if you can raise the capital for that other 200, you're talking about an infinite return. Which, if you haven't, we just sent out the Infinite Returns book to the Patreon members. I kind of share the photo of the book. I'm really excited about the cover and all that stuff. It came out really well. So if you're interested in that book, be sure to join the Patreon, and we'll send you a copy. So the nice thing about doing the second strategy, where you're actually closing on the deal and then you're exiting, is you're not limited. You're not limited on how much you're going to be able to make on that deal. Like I mentioned, it's not that you're limited in the first strategy. It's just that seller isn't going to be happy. If you're going in and you're making 50% of what they're selling the business to you for on your exit, that could cause one of those issues where, like, hey, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go out and I'm going to sell this myself. And it's really difficult if you don't completely close the deal. It's difficult to hide that, because it's going to be kind of a simultaneous closing type of thing. So the big upside to actually closing and then flipping is you're unlimited. And one of the reasons that I'm a big fan of flipping businesses over real estate is you're also not limited by comps. The biggest downside, a lot of y'all know that one of my businesses was a HomeStore franchise. So over the course of a couple of years, when I owned that business in the real estate space, we did a couple hundred pieces of real estate. And the biggest downside is you're limited by the comps. So it's kind of a max comp situation. And if you've got a house, no matter what you add to it, no matter what you do to it, if all of the comparables in that area are at 250,000, you might be able to stretch to 3, but you're not going to go to $1 million. You're not going to go to 2 million. The great thing with the business is if you see some things you can do in that business to prove it, it could go from a $250,000 business to literally a $2 million. It could go to a $10 million. So there's no limit, and you're not kind of, you don't have to kind of stay within the constraints based on comps. So those are some tips when it comes to flipping. If you haven't checked out the previous video that I did with Ange, be sure to check that out. If you're not a part of Patreon, be sure to join. We're sending out the Infinite Returns books. If you haven't received yours yet and you've been a member for a little bit, feel free to reach out to me. We'll get you your copy. So thank y'all for popping in here. Got a couple comments. Kenny, what's up? Just popped in to say, what's up, Ace? Stanley E says, are you active on other social media platforms? Not as much. Instagram the most, but it's really just for fun. Like, I just share jokes and that kind of thing. I do one day want to get active with Twitter. We're just so busy. There's a lot of things happening. So I just haven't had enough time. So I've definitely neglected my folks over on Twitter, but I do share these videos on Twitter. So I tried. This has been kind of the most streamlined way of doing it, and it's streaming. So streamlining through streaming. But yeah, feel free to reach out on any of those and reach out through Instagram. New York Engineer, what's up, homie? Just drop it in to say, I am not uncertain. Yes, that's when you know it's about to be up. When he comes and he says, I am not uncertain. What's up, Easy Money Mellow? Thanks for coming in. Says, yo, what's good, Ace? I appreciate it. All right. Y'all have a productive rest of the week. Let's make some things happen.